Hey everyone! So today we're going to learn how to use Marvelous Designer to create clothing simulations for your 3D character. Now, I'm using Marvelous Designer 4 for my students' sake, even though I prefer the 7th or the 8th, but at least you get the fundamentals of how Marvelous Designer works for 4, and you can apply them to the 7th or 8th generation of Marvelous Designer. Now, at first launch, so I have this open for a reason, is your anti-aliasing. So you have off times 2 times 4 times 8 times 16 times 32. Now, anti-aliasing is how rough the edges will look inside of your 3D view. Alright? So before we start, if you have a powerful computer, so a lot of cores, a lot of RAMs, a very good graphic card, new generation ones of 2019 and 2020, you can go up to 16 or 32. But I prefer times 4 since my computer is a little bit outdated. So let's do that first. And I'm going to guide you through just the basic introduction of how Marvelous Designer works in general. So, to start, what is Marvelous Designer? It's a clothing simulation software, meaning that when you are simulating the clothing, it doesn't behave such as polygons, it behaves more into particle systems in a sense that it's glued to the character itself. So let's close everything up. So let's close that up as well. Now, the way Marvelous Designer works, you have a 3D view on the left, and you have a 2D view on the right. Now, why is Marvelous Designer so interesting? It's because whenever you draw a pattern of clothing on the right side, on the 2D side, it will already be one, unwrapped, so UV unwrapped, so you can texture any way you want in any software you would like, which is Maya, 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, Blender, whatever. And you can also create small animations inside of Marvelous Designer to be able to get that clothing simulation and bake it as well. So let's start here. First of all, I would not like to use the woman or the dress, so I'm gonna delete both of them. The way I do this is I go to avatar first, and I say clear all avatars. That's number one. Number two, I select, click and drag all of the clothing design and delete on my keyboard. And to make sure that it gets removed from the 3D view, I have to click on sync on the top. And now I have a fresh new page that I could work with. Alright? So let's load in a new avatar. Avatar on the right, on the top, sorry. Avatar editor. I'm going to select the male, short hair and shoes. Short hair and shoes. There we go. So, the 2D view has a silhouette of the character right in the center, and the 3D view has the 3D character. To rotate around the character, you press your right click, and it allows you to rotate. Your middle click button, so your scroll wheel button, will allow you to pan the view. That's pretty much it. And here as well, you can pan. You cannot rotate this view, it's a 2D view. Okay? So pan with the middle click button. So let's go over a few tools on the 2D view. To be able to modify anything or move any pattern, you use these tools. To be able to create curves on your pattern, such as a neckline for a t-shirt or something like that, or pants or whatever, you can use these tools and we'll go over them. To create patterns, you can use these tools, these three. To create elastics, which we'll talk about later, are these three tools. To sew your clothing together, you can use these tools right here. And forget about the rest for now. Okay, so first things first, we have to create a small little adjustment here. So you have to go to your preferences, gizmo, and I prefer putting it on local coordinate. It will be on screen coordinate. I prefer local, and you'll see why. So let's start with creating a t-shirt. So how do you tackle creating patterns for clothing? You have to think about how real life clothing are created, such as jeans, t-shirts, jackets, what have you. So in this sense, I'm going to create a t-shirt by clicking on this one. Alright, polygon H, and this allows me to create patterns in a various manner by clicking and dragging. Okay, and I can just close this. Alright, so it allows me to create patterns like so. And since my sync is on, it will directly sync to this view. So the other one allows you to create squares, normal squares, different dimensions. If you have very specific dimensions, you can you can left click once without dragging, and it will give you the width and the height that you're looking for if you want something specific. And here you create circular type of patterns. Okay, so I prefer clicking on this and start working on my character. So I start with the neck, so I create shoulders, click and drag. I'm just creating a t-shirt for now. on the body here, and I go all the way by pressing shift to the middle. Shift allows you to create a straight curve, a straight line, sorry. And I click on the middle of the character, go all the way up, and create a small little indentation here. So that's my first pattern for my layer. Now, what you can do is you can copy this to the other side and sew them together, but I prefer not doing this. I prefer selecting my Z tool or edit pattern tool and clicking on this line right here, this segment. Right click and say unfold. What this does is just copies whatever is on the left to the right, perfectly symmetrical. Okay? And now what I'm gonna do is you can do a few things here. Control copy, Control V will create a new pattern. But what I want to do is I want to work on this one, and it also affects the other one, the one in the back. So what I'm going to do is Control C, right click, and symmetric paste, and put it right here. So whatever I do here, it will translate to this one as well. But this one right here is not in the right position. And something very important to understand about Marvelous is that you have a correct side of a pattern and a wrong side of a pattern. So if I look at this pattern, it's very white on this side, but very gray on the other side. So this pattern right here, this view will not allow me to render. So like any 3D software, you have the correct side of a face and a wrong side of the face. So here, I need to rotate this 180, like so, and just position it where it's supposed to go. Now, a great way to position certain things is through this tool right here. So on my left, I have show avatar and I have show arrangement points. So by clicking on this, my character has multiple points that are blue. So let me space these out a little bit so you can see. Multiple points that are blue. So if I click on the front of the shirt here, and I just click on, let's say, this one, it will glue itself right there. If I click on this one, it will go right there. Okay, very useful. So I selected the middle one. I'm going to do the same for the back one, which is going to be this one. Okay, and something very important about Marvelous Designer, you do not start sewing the actual patterns as if you're sewing an entire t-shirt on the character. It has to simulate first, meaning that if I select the edges of the arm right here and the bottom and the sides, everything will be simulated, but it might not glue itself to the character correctly. What we do is we use steps. Alright, so let me remove these so you can see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this piece, shift click on this piece, and that way in the 2D view I know that this line will sew itself to this line, same as this line will sew itself to this line. So let's start there. Okay, I'm going to start sewing just the top pieces. So I select this tool right here, click and click right here. Same here, click and click on the other side. Now, if you notice here, my pattern is crisscrossing between each other. It's creating an X. That's very bad. For me to remove this, Control B on the keyboard. They have to be straight lines. Okay? I'm not going to sew anything else right now. All I'm going to do is click on Simulate, and it will simulate correctly. Okay? Next, remove simulation, and I'm going to continue sewing the rest of the patterns. So this first sew guarantees that the character's shoulders will be in place first, and then the arms, and then the body. Okay? So now all I did was the arms, and not even the underarms, just the top pieces. And simulate. They will glue themselves together, but see, still, something happened here. How do I fix this? With simulation clicked on, I click on the pattern and I move it to the side. Just click and drag. Move it to the side. Very gently, don't go crazy here. See, it's sticking together. So go a bit to the back. Just move it until it fits. There we go. It's on top. Do the same for the other side. There we go. Now rearrange everything. This is what Marvelous Designer can do perfectly. It's simulating these patterns as particle systems. That's why you're able to simulate them in that sense. So there we go. Rearrange the shirt a little bit. So be careful. The higher your anti-aliasing, the harder this will be. The higher the polygon counts or the particle system count on the shirts and on the patterns, the harder simulating will be. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. So now I'm going to sew the underarms. So 1, This one goes to the other side. So it crisscrossed, did it? Yes, it did. Control B. This one here. Always check your patterns. Very good. And now I can also sew the shirts, the bottom of the shirts. So if you notice, this will crisscross the pattern. If I move my mouse a bit up, it will be straight. Here, for an example, crisscross, flat. Perfect. And click on your simulation. And now my shirt is perfect on the character. So if you want to make the shirt longer, for an example, keep simulation on. If I want to make it longer, since this is symmetrical to this one, I just have to move one of them. So I can click, shift click on the next one, and just shift click and drag down. And my shirt will be longer. Shorter, same principle. Oops, sorry. Same principle. Okay? And that's how you're able to create certain patterns like this. Now, if you notice that my shirt here is symmetrical, so that's a bit of a problem, I'm going to remove symmetry on the back and just click on this point and move it up a little bit. That way just it fixes that little line on the neck. Okay? So next, the pants. Usually what I do is I don't create the shirt before the pants because I want the shirt to simulate on top of the pants. But for this demonstration's sake, it's perfectly fine. We'll just rearrange it later on. So for the pants, I can move these patterns to the side now. They're not going to do anything anymore. For the pants, let's go. So usually I like to create shorts first and then elongate to actual pants. And the more points you have, the more control you have. So we're going to start from here. Shift, click, drag. Move down. Move here. Click. Center and move up. Unfold this. Control C on this one. And symmetrical paste right here. Let me move these patterns to the side. There we go. So this one is going to go to the back. Rotate it first. Don't forget to rotate. You need the right face showing. There we go. And now I'm going to sew them together. What I'm going to sew first is the top piece because I need it to form a kind of a belt first to be able to hold. Understand something in Marvelous, when you're simulating something, gravity is affecting it as well. So if you have a very long pattern and the sewing is not very tight, let's say, I'm going to show you what I mean by this, the actual pattern will drop. So we don't want that to happen. So here I'm going to sew it first. So inside first and then outside next. There we go. Simulate, and now you'll notice it's gonna drop. Perfect, it didn't. It didn't drop that much. Next, I'm gonna sew these. Inside. So if you're unsure what goes where, just click, shift click on this one, and I know that this dot is gonna link with this dot, so that's perfect for me. And simulate. Created shorts. Now it dropped down a bit. Notice this. Let me move the shirt up a little bit here so you can see. So it dropped down. Okay, that's because the top piece is a little bit loose. So the tighter this goes, let me show you what I mean. The tighter this moves, the tighter the pattern will be. Okay? And now I can raise this up. There we go, and we can move the shirt a little bit down. Over the shorts. There we go. Okay, now to continue with the legs. So I have one piece here, and the same on the other symmetry. So create a pattern. Like so, make it a bit big. I want it to be baggy pants, kind of. And make sure I Control click V. So Control C, Control V on this leg. Select both of them. Click, Shift click, Control C, right click, symmetric paste on the other side. We're going to take both of these and rotate them and position them as well. So same as the shirt, what we're gonna do is, first of all, sew the top pieces together, like so, simulate, and the other piece. So I need, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, click here, shift click here, and that's pattern goes here. So this one goes here, click, shift click on this one, these two go together. It's a very simple software to use at first, so don't worry about the complex stuff. There we go. And simulate. And we made pants. Now, I want them to be baggy. This is not baggy at all. So what I'm going to do here is increase the size of all of these. So what I'm doing, selecting just these 2 points. There we go. So this point is very heavy, so this is the one. I'm going to grab it and just move it back in a little bit here. There we go. And I'm going to raise up the pants just a little bit. Just move it around a little bit. Good. And I made pants. So let's go to something a bit more complex here. If I click on this little button right here and I say mesh, so Alt plus 4, it will show me the mesh. Number one, the mesh is in triangles, which for me is not the best case scenario. Very effective for gaming scenarios, such as using it for Unity or Unreal, because game engines use triangles to calculate their meshes. But we don't want that for now. I want to use this for a 3D software, so I don't want it to be in triangles. I want it to be in quads. So how do we change them into quads? I select all the patterns, everything I've done so far. Okay. I move to 3D garment and I say quadrangulate. And this will put everything into quads. That's step number one. Okay. Next, I want higher quality patterns. That's very important for me. Because right now it's not that high details. The higher the detail, the harder the simulation, but the better it will look. Meaning that these little creases right here and those little things right here will look a lot better. So when you select any pattern, you have a few selection tools here that you can use, a few things. Alright, so first of all, elastic, we'll go over it next time. Particle distance is what you're looking for. Okay? Shrinkage weft and shrinkage warp, yes, that's how they're spelled, will do something different, and thickness and rendering will do something different with the pressure. So let me show you exactly what these do. First of all, the particle distance. So the lower you go with the particle distance, the higher the quality of the pattern will be. Why? Because every single particle will have a shorter distance between each other and they'll multiply. So let me put this into perspective like so. So let's drop this down to 10. Be careful, this will be very heavy for your computer. So if you have a very decent computer, not like mine, you can have a very good detailed pattern. So there we go, much better. It's already starting to lag, so I'm not going to go lower than that. But basically this is how you can create much better details for certain patterns and stuff like that. Okay? Let me go back to 20 so I can explain the other things. So what else? Shrinkage weft and shrinkage warp. Let me show you on the shirt what these do. So shrinkage weft, let's go to 2. It will blow up the entire pattern. Go back to 1. And you can go under, so 0.5. It will shrink even more. Okay? Shrinkage warp is a bit different. It understands elastics a lot more, which I'll explain later. So 2. So it keeps the entire shape kind of together, but it looks for where it's very loose, such as the top of the shirt, and increases the size. And if I go to 0.5, it will shrink it up majorly. Okay? So keep that in mind. So I put it back to 1. Let me just drag this down, back up again. I might have ruined my simulation a little bit. So if you ruin your simulation, what you can do here is remove the simulate button, click on this, move it forwards. Sorry, they're together. Click on this, move it forward, click on the back, move it backwards. and resimulate. It should fix itself a little bit better. Okay, so again, if you mess up your simulation, just remove simulate, click on this, move forward, click on this, move backwards, and resimulate. Okay, you also have a few tools here you can use, such as this, allows you to see the pattern. Okay, Control Z, and this allows you to just re-unfold everything where it was before, and you can resimulate that way. And Control Z to undo. Okay, this allows you to see the seams and everything else together. All right. So what about pressure? Pressure. Let me click on my simulate button. Pressure. If I increase it, it creates this kind of a bubble effect. It just builds up. So see how it's changing? So to better explain this to you, let me create a pillow. So let me just create a square, perfect square. Let me sync it. There it is. So let me move this up like so. And copy, paste this one on the bottom. The gizmo is a little bit annoying because everything is on it, and you have to kind of find the right angle for it. Very good. So let's just sew these together. This goes here. Control B. This goes here. This goes to the out. This goes in. Control B. So if Control B doesn't work, just right click. Sorry, with the sewing tool, right click and say reverse sewing, which is, where was it? Oh, it's edit. Edit right here. Edit sew. Right here. Reverse sewing. Okay. And simulate this. Too fast. 1 second. There we go. So let me drop it down. So it's a flat piece of pillow right now. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, increase the pressure. Builds up. Goes down. Builds up. Okay? So it's perfect. So here you can control the numbers. Like 14, I want a little bit more of that little bounce kind of. Maybe 10. There we go. Okay, and you can just simulate this and move it around and stuff like that. So that's how you create the pillow, but you can understand what the pressure does. It builds inside of that pressure. Now, let's talk about elastics. Elastics can be used for a lot of things. One, to create patterns for a pillow or a duvet inside of your bed or on a character, doesn't really matter. But it also helps you to create pockets. So let's say here I want to create a pocket. Let's say this is the shirt of my character and I want to create a pocket. I take my elastic, so this one, click, shift, click, click. So all I'm doing, and then when you're done, sorry, just double click. Okay? So again, let me show you. Click and drag with shift clicked on, click, 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 and then double click as soon as you're done. And I can create a square on top of these, like so, and like so. Move this square here to the side because we don't want it to intervene with the actual look and feel. So this one is on the bottom. I'm going to move it up and move it like so. Move it to the side a bit. This one as well, just move it, rotate it like so. And move it up. Great. Now, this edge goes here, so you can sew on top of elastics. That's what's great about this. This one here, and this one right here. And I can simulate this. And these two, I can create a very high pressure. Whoop, 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 not on everything, sorry. Oh god, what did we do? Come back, simulate, there we go. So, I'm guessing the pressure will be very heavy for this, so let me just try to get just these two. 1, 2, okay. What we're gonna do is maybe change the weft. 2, 5. Oh boy. Okay, too much, too much, too much. 2. Maybe 1. 1.2. Okay, that's a little bit better with maybe a 4 pressure. So this is how you create a pocket technically. There we go. Just detaching it from the original mesh, that's all. Okay? So you can use this for your character for a lot of things. For an example, so that the pants don't drop, I can actually create an elastic just around, just a small little waistband elastic all around. That way it just sticks to the character better. Right? And that's about it. So I'll be doing a bit more videos on this next time, but at least now you have an introduction video on how to use Marvelous Designer. So hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe for the videos and comment any kind of video you would like to see more of or any kind of questions you might have. See you in the next one, guys. Bye.